Let's speak now to Stephen Booth, who's from the think tank Open Europe, which wants to see radical reform of the European Union. He's in our Westminster newsroom. Stephen Booth, thank you for your time. Well, I mean, radical reform of the European Union is, I suppose, an idea that's getting quite a lot of traction now.
Indeed, I think that's true, and I think what you're seeing this week is that there's a vast majority in the country, a vast majority among British business, that it's in favour of a new deal for Britain in the European Union, a reformed European Union. And I think, if nothing else, the furore over the last couple of weeks has at least drawn attention to that fact.
It's a nice thing to say, though, isn't it? We want a reform, we want it better for Britain. But is it realistic, or is it just good, nice, pithy turn of phrase?
Well, we think it's definitely realistic. I think it's also essential for two reasons. Firstly, the domestic reasons that we're seeing this week, but secondly, because of what's happening in the Eurozone. The EU will not be the same European Union that we've seen over the past 10 years and the current European Union now. So it's vital that the EU does change if Britain is going to remain within it. The status quo isn't an option. So I think the Prime Minister is right to try and set out a new vision, and I think what this process should start putting more kind of skin on the bones, and actually trying to sort of talk about what exactly do we mean by a new reform agenda and a new relationship with Europe.
There is, of course, this amendment that will be voted on in a couple of days' time.
Yeah.
Do you expect that to get a lot of support?
I think it is drafted quite widely, so I think it does mean different things to different people. Some people who want a referendum tomorrow can back it, others who back the Prime Minister's strategy of negotiating and then following that up with a referendum in the next Parliament can also back it. So I imagine it will get some quite widespread support among Conservative members, and also some members on the Labour Party benches as well, perhaps.
And what about the rise of UKIP? Doesn't that suggest there's a great rump of this country who don't want anything to do with the European Union?
Well, I think there are a number of reasons for UKIP's rise, but I think you're right. There clearly is very large numbers of people who are disenchanted with the European Union, and I think that's something that has to be addressed. I think the vast majority of the public and British business definitely want a different relationship with Europe, and what we need to start talking about now is what do we want? I mean, if we're leaving, that still begs the question: what relationship do we want with Europe in its place, in the EU's place? So I think that it's good that we're starting that debate, and I think the more we can concentrate on the substance of that, the better and the more kind of constructive this conversation can be.
Well, as somebody who wants us to stay in the European Union, in 10 years' time, what will be the greatest benefit to sticking with the EU, do you think?
Well, I don't think it's a case of staying in the EU at all costs. I think that's the point I would firstly make. It is about changing the relationship. I think the point is that the EU is changing and the Eurozone looks likely to integrate further. And the key thing that we need to have is safeguards about existing rights, and also seeing where things that no longer make sense in terms of all travelling in the same direction, where we can get greater difference for countries like Britain that want to stay kind of independent in some other areas. And I think the key thing to remember is that nearly half of our exports go to the European Union still, and we still have some influence over how that market develops. And I think if we can, Britain would like to try and maintain influence over how that market develops in the future.
Okay, Stephen Booth from Open Europe. Thank you.
Thank you.